Hi all, today we are going to see about HTTP service in Angular. What is HTTP service? It is one of the built-in service which is available in Angular, and using HTTP service you can call to the server and fetch data. So that you can basically do a HTTP call to the backend and fetch the data. This is one of the most important service in Angular. And the other thing you need to understand is in Angular the HTTP service returns a observable. In case of AngularJS, if you see, it will return a promise. But in the case of HTTP service, it will return a observable. If you don't know observable, I will recommend you to see my previous video on observable so that you understand what is observable. Since it returns observable, for getting the data from observable, you need to subscribe to that observable. Then only you can receive data from that. In case of promise, we used to use then and receive the data. But in case of observable, you need to subscribe. Okay. And one of the most important thing you need to do to use HTTP service in Angular is you have to install this package. Okay. So let me proceed to do that. Let me go to the place. We will see a sample application right now. So let me go open a new terminal, and I will to start with that example, I will just now install the HTTP package we require for doing a HTTP call in Angular. So I'm installing the service, and I will show you the sample application. This is my sample application. If you click on employee list, right now it is showing empty because we need to insert that call to the HTTP server and fetch that employee list and show it here. That's the aim of this session. I have a node server which gives that data. Okay, if you do localhost 8080 get employees, it actually provides you it is a get call which returns the employees. So using this server, this HTTP call, I need to from Angular, I need to call this localhost 8080 get employees and try to fetch this data and show it here. This is the aim of this session. Okay. For to start with that, I'm trying to install. Okay. Let us wait for it to complete so that we can proceed. Now it has completed installation, and you can see that it has added this package into our application. So you can check that by going to package.json. You should be seeing this package in your package.json. Okay. And you should also be seeing it in HTTP. Okay. If you go to node modules, you should be seeing this HTTP. It is actually inside common, and where it is there, common HTTP, you got able to see, right? So this is where it got added. Now we will try to use this HTTP and try to make a HTTP call. Okay. So to do that, first we need to, whatever we do, we have your service, built-in service we are using. We need to add it in app modules as we usually do. Even if we are going to write our own service, we have to tell Angular that I have written the service. But in this case, I'm importing the service, right? So you have to mention it in the imports. Okay. Normally, when we write a service, we used to mention it in the declarations. But right now, I want to use it from Angular. So I will write it as HTTP client module. Okay, I have to include this module. Okay, once you do this, then it will be get auto imported. So you have to include this module in app module. Okay. In declaration, in import, sorry. Now I have included this module. Okay, included this module. So this should be available for injection. Once you say to Angular that you have imported a client module, means it will be, that service will be available for injection. Okay, so for that what I will do is I will go to the employee list where I want the list of data. Okay, I will go to the employee list. This one, since it is a built-in service, you need not provide it in the provider. You just can mention it in the constructor, and that will be injected by Angular. Okay, you just need to import it. That's it. Angular request. Now here, when the employee list initializes, I need to make a call so that in my application I'm able to see that. Okay, employee list. This page belongs to employee list, so I am going to the employee list component, and here what I need to inject. I need to inject, not inject this one. I need to inject, yeah, that public HTTP is a variable. I need to inject HTTP client. Okay. If you are using Visual Studio, you should be seeing that. Since we have imported HTTP client module, we have to make sure that we inject HTTP client using which we can do the HTTP call. So this HTTP client should be auto imported for us from Angular common HTTP. Okay. And in NgOnIt, let us use this HTTP and do our server call. Okay. To where we are going to do that server call, we are going to do it to the server which we already configured. So this is the address. Once we do a get call to this URL, you should be receiving the employees. So let me do that. And as I mentioned earlier, the Angular will be returning a observable. To receive the data, you should subscribe. Let me first print out this so that you understand. Okay. So I will just console.log observable, just to understand it is printing here this line, and I will just print that object. So right now we should be getting an observable object. So to understand this is observable. These two lines are synchronous. Okay, it will happen after this line will happen. Only the subscription will receive the data when it has been sent from the server. Okay, let me show it in the application now. It is running, so we should be seeing an observable object now. We are seeing an observable object, right? But this observable will not have synchronously will not have data. Only after we subscribe, through the subscription we will receive the data. Okay, let us subscribe to this observable. To receive the data, we should be using the first callback. As I mentioned in the previous video. So this is where the data will be received, and let us print that data. Response, I will say response from observable, and I will print this data. Once the observable sends the data, so this is asynchronous. Okay, only when the observable sends the data, the observer which is subscribed to that observable will receive the data. Okay, when the observer sends the data and it has a empty when the stack is empty, and that event loop concept will come. only when the stack is empty and there are no synchronous events which are waiting, only then this line will happen asynchronously. That's what I wanted to say. So let us check whether we are receiving the data now. So it is recompiling. Hooray, we received the data. So whatever is being sent from the get employees, we are able to receive the data through the observables. Now to see the data in the under the employee in the employee list component, we have to set the employees which is shown in the HTML. Maybe if you have see the HTML, this is the HTML I basically use the employees variable and iterate through that and create the employee component which ultimately shows the data. That's what it is. So to see the data, what you can do is just you can say it like this dot employees equal to the data received from the observables. Now you should be able to see the data. I hope you should be see the data. Let us wait for it to compile. Now we are able to see the data. The basically what I'm doing in employee list is I am iterating through that. For each iteration, I'm creating the employee component, and that employee component is doing some CSS changes on the employee on each object. Basically, each object I say this object. Each object it is doing some CSS changes so that it is displayed in some beautiful manner. Okay. In next session, we will create a HTTP service separately. As a good practice is always best. You should not be importing injecting the HTTP client everywhere. So you should create your own service. Okay. In that only you should inject the HTTP client, and basically we should call our service created for HTTP. We should be using that service, and likewise that service will host all the other properties like delete, add, many others. It will host all that. Okay. Thank you. Kindly subscribe if you find it interesting. Thank you.